it will be getting late. Otherwise, let's start. We'll discuss today about the eye. Okay, is eye not in anatomy? The different parts of the eye. Have you studied eye in anatomy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in that case, the different parts and the particular function of the eye, that whatever you have studied in the anatomy, you keep it at the background. Okay, I will not explain again. And in the physiology, I will be explaining some additional points which you have not in anatomy. Okay, so one that you know that eye, how they are kept suspended by the suspensory ligaments. Okay, there's a vitreous humor, then the aqueous humor. Okay, then the main part involved for formation of the image is the retina, and in the retina there is a position, location called the fovea in the in the macula. Okay, so that fovea is the depressed part, and there the visual axis will be formed by an imaginary line passing through the retina at the fovea. Okay, from the object to the fovea. Okay, so that will come one by one. And first of all, we'll discuss about the intraocular pressure. Have you heard this term, intraocular pressure?
No, ma'am.
So anyway, intraocular pressure, it is the pressure maintained inside the eye. The fluid present inside has to maintain a particular pressure. Okay, that pressure is the intraocular pressure. So if this intraocular pressure fluctuates, if it rises higher, it may lead to blindness. Okay, so the intraocular pressure, it ranges from 12 to 20 mm mercury, and when there is rise in intraocular pressure, that condition is called glaucoma. See the spelling, okay, ZLA. Yes?
Ma'am, some students are trying to join.
Oh, sorry. Wait, huh?
Ma'am, slides are not visible.
Wait, I forgot. Let them try to join. Let them try. Have they come?
Yes, ma'am.
Have they come? Okay. Yeah, I forgot to share my slide. Directly I went there. Okay. Is it visible? Hello.
No, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Slides are not visible.
No, ma'am.
Probably is very slow. Wait, okay. I think internet is very slow. Just say, fix it. visible now? My light?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Not.
Hello? Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I think internet is slow,
No,
so
ma'am.
in between if it breaks, let me know. It's not visible? Oh, then
It's now visible.
I think there is interruption. Okay, the parts of the eye, is it visible? Slide
No, ma'am.
visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you said that you have studied anatomy of the eye. So different parts, the anatomical knowledge. Okay, you have in your at the background, and we will continue with that. Okay, so the eye is having a particular pressure in the chamber. Okay, in the chamber of the eye, it is maintaining a particular pressure inside, and that pressure is called intraocular pressure, and it ranges from 12 to 20 mmHg, and it rises above 20 develop. So glaucoma means condition where the pressure is above the normal. Okay, sometimes it may rise to 60 to 20 mmHg. Instead of remaining in the range 12 to 20, it may go up to 60 to 70 mmHg. Okay, so in such conditions, there will be blindness. Okay, and if the pressure is extremely very high, there may be instant blindness also within within few hours. Otherwise, if it is not very high but the normal, then it will take few weeks, or it will take to get blindness. But if it is actually very high, then do instant blindness, okay, within days or even within hours. So that condition is called glaucoma. What actually happens, how it can be treated, how is the treatment, those things you will study in the class, your classes higher. That time you will study, but here simply glaucoma means the high intraocular pressure, and it can lead to blind. You might have studied about the muscles associated in the eye. Okay, here what I'm going to discuss is the muscles in particularly in the eye movement. Okay, some muscles may be involved for the accommodation, some other. What I am going to discuss is about the muscles involved in eye movement. Okay, there are 6 numbers of muscles. Okay, for maintaining the correct movement depending on the position of the object to be seen, how the eye adjusts. How the eye adjusts to have normal position. Okay, and also those muscles are the muscles involved in the eye movement. There are 6 numbers of muscles. Okay, that is medial. First one is one is the medial and lateral medial rectus and lateral. Hello? Hello, can you hear? Medial rectus and rectus. Okay, it would be better if I rectus in superior rectus. Rectus. Okay. Superior oblique and here oblique. So these are the muscles which are required for movement of the eye. One is the medial rectus and lateral. So this is the rectus, the medial rectus. Medial rectus and the lateral rectus, what they are going to do, they will help, they will contract to move the eyes from to side. Okay, means it will contract, allow the eye to move this side, it will contract, it will allow to move the eye to move this side. Okay, means it will relax, it will move this side, like that. Then the another one, the superior rectus and inferior rectus. The superior rectus and inferior rectus. Imagine that you are viewing this eye from the above the head of the animal. And this is from the head, and this is the down portion. This will be towards the head, this will be towards the down. Okay, so here is the superior rectus, and in the opposite direction there will be inferior rectus, which is shown here by dotted lines and here. Okay, what they are going to do, they will contract to move the eyes upward or downward. That means it will move upward by contracting this, it will pull up the eye, this will relax, and it will, the superior rectus, the inferior rectus will contract and move it down. Here, this is the inferior oblique. This is the superior oblique. What they do, they rotate the eyeballs to keep the visual fields in the upright position. That means it will adjust. It will adjust the contraction and the relaxation of these muscles will adjust the eye to keep the visual fields. It will try to adjust with that. It will form the visual fields. So I'll come to the visual fields. What are those visual fields? I'll come to that point later. Okay. So these are the sets of the muscles involved in the movement of the eye. Who are they? The medial rectus and lateral rectus. What they do? They contract, and the inferior rectus, they contract to move the eyes upward or downward, and superior oblique and the inferior oblique, they rotate the eyeballs to keep the visual fields in a upright position. Just wait. Just wait. Oh, yes. What I was telling, so these are the set of the muscles. There are 6 numbers of muscles involved in the movement of the eye. Okay, so you just remember these parts. It's okay. Okay, then come to the parts of the retina. Okay, so in the retina there are presence of photoreceptor cells. Okay, so I have given some notes in relation to the different portions, different parts of the eye and their functions. In that notes, where are these rods and the cones present, it is mentioned there. So we are discussing about the retina, and inside in the retina there are presence of photoreceptor cells. There are two types of the photoreceptor cells present in retina. One is rods, another is cones. Have you heard these terms, rods and cones, earlier? Yes. So these rods and the cones, they are nothing but the photoreceptor cells. Okay, photoreceptor cell. That means photoreceptor cells, what do you understand here? They are going to receive the cells of light. Okay, so if I ask who are receptor cells, or if you are asked to write a short note on the photoreceptors, then we have to write that these photoreceptors is sensitive to light, to the intensity light, how much light is present. Accordingly, they are going to they may function during the day. So these cells are the receptors which can sense the light. Okay, so the photoreceptor cells are the cells, they are present in retina. Okay, in the retina of the eye has photoreceptor cells. They are mainly of two types. They are of two types. One is rods and another is cones. And here, what you have to remember is retinas of domestic mammals, okay, contain mostly the rods. That means they are having most of the photoreceptor cells as rods than the cones. Okay, while the retinas of the birds contain mostly of the cones, okay, than the rods. Okay, so these rods, some differentiating features between rods and cones are that these rods are more sensitive to light than the cone cells. Okay, these rods are more sensitive to light than cone cells, and they give dim light or night vision. That means even in the presence of small amount of light, they are going to work because they are more sensitive to light. Only a little amount of light, even if it's present, they are going to work. Okay, so they are more sensitive to light than the cone cells, and they give the dim light or night vision. That means they will be more associated, their function will be more during night time. Okay, then it has two portions. One is rhodopsin and scotopsin. The rhodopsin is the light sensitive part, and the scotopsin, it is the protein portion. Okay, or they are also called opsins. Okay, so rhodopsin, it is the light sensitive part, it is the pigment, okay, which is sensitive to light, and the scotopsin, that is an opsin, and that is the protein portion of the rods. Okay, and about the cones give detailed color daytime vision, as they are less sensitive to light than the rods. They will be more involved during the daytime. Okay, so retinas of birds contain mostly the cones. This may be the reason why the birds, they don't go on foraging at night time. Okay, they except for a few nocturnal birds, most of the birds, they come to their nest during night time when there is dark. You might have even seen during or it may not be that during a solar eclipse and all. Okay, during the solar eclipse, when there is complete dark, okay, the birds, they used to come back because that light intensity was reduced, so they suddenly come back. And when the eclipse was over, all the birds started flying from the trees and their respective nest. Okay, so this was some common observations seen during the solar eclipse before. Okay, you might have not seen those things, but you may encounter in the future if there is complete darkness during solar eclipse and all. Birds, what they used to do, they used to come back and then they used to fly again. Okay, when the eclipse was over. Then cone pigments or the color pigments, they are the light sensitive chemicals in the cones, while the photopsins, okay, photopsins are the protein portion or the opsins. That means opsins of the cones are called photopsins, and opsins of the scotops of rods are called scotopsin. Okay, so who are the photoreceptor cells? If you are asked what is a photoreceptor cell, then you will be able to write few lines at least. Okay, so where are they present? They are present in the retina of the eye. That's how the eye is having retina for image formation. Okay, so that means because they are having the sensors, the receptors for sensing the light. Okay, so this is how they are located. Say the rods and the cones, they are all, this structure is showing the what? Histological section. Okay, so this is the pigment layer, and the rods and cones, they are all interspersed and they are all connected to the nerve terminus. Okay, there, these nerve terminus, they will be again connected to the optic nerve. Okay, so here there will be intermingling of the rods and cones, means they are interspersed one after another. They are present in the mix, and they are again all interconnected by the nerves. Okay, so this here about the histology, yeah, you might have studied in the histology, but here I just want to say, I just want to show that the rods and the cones, they are present in the mix, intermingling form. Okay. Then next point is the visual pathways, or what we understand by the visual pathways. That means the retina of the eye. Okay, the retina of the eye is having two portions. Okay, the retina will be present somewhere here, right? So this is having two portions, that is the nasal part and the temporal part. The retina, which is having two, the nasal part and the what? And the temporal part. Okay, so that part, the temporal part, okay, this temporal part will be receiving the sight of the objects at the left. Okay, while the nasal part of the retina, it is going to receive the signal from the right, this from the right side. And another, the another way, this retina, what it is going to receive, the nasal portion of the retina is going to receive the left, the vision of the objects towards the left, and the temporal part of the retina is going to receive the signal from the objects at the right side. So there are two pathways of light to travel, that is the nasal pathway, which is passing from the nose, and the temporal pathway, which is passing from the temporal lobe. Then on each eyes, that means the nasal pathway going from this direction and the temporal pathway going from this direction. And what they do, these are again all connected. The signal is reaching the retina and it is all again carried, and then they change their track. The signal, the nerve, okay, the nerve which is bringing the signal from the nasal portion, okay, the nasal portion that interchange with one from the another eye and optic case. That's how the visual pathways are formed. Okay, so this is called the visual pathway, and the area which is formed by these visual pathways, that is the visual field. So the area which is formed by the temporal and the nasal pathways of the right eye, that is the right visual field, and the area which is formed by the temporal and the nasal pathways of the left eye, that is the left visual field. Okay, and here how we have seen is this is viewed from the top of the head, and this is the left eye, and this is the right eye. So the right eye will be receiving the sights of the objects at different locations through the nasal and temporal pathways. Okay, then this is the nasal pathway, and this is the nasal nasal tract. Okay, and this is the nasal tract, and then they will after they crisscross here at the optic chiasm, they will go, okay, into to reach to the lateral geniculate body, and this nerve will synapse here at the lateral geniculate body. Okay, then this optic nerve will be reaching the visual, and then further it will go to the visual cortex in the occipital lobe. Okay, so the optic nerve which is coming from the left eye is having two fibers, okay, two tracks, one nasal and one temporal, and at the left side also is having two tracks, the nasal and the temporal. Okay, so the one which is coming from the nasal portion, they crisscross here in the optic chiasm. Okay, so this superior view transverse section, that means when the head is taken a transverse section here, then we view like this, and that is called the visual pathway. Okay, so there are two visual pathways, an old system and a new system. Okay, but in case of the higher animals and in the human beings, the new system is involved. Okay, so in the old system, what portions of the brain are involved? This nerve tract, okay, it carries its signal for perception of the vision to the midbrain and the base of the forebrain. Okay, but in case of the new system, the visual cortex located in the occipital lobe is involved for formation of the image, for perception of the image. Okay, and in human beings and the higher animals, the new system is responsible for perception of virtuality. Okay, then all aspects of the visual form, colors, and the other conscious vision, they are all perceived in the visual cortex located in the occipital lobe in the higher animals and in the human beings. Okay, but conversely, in many primitive animals, even the visual form is detected by the older system using the superior colliculus in the same manner that the visual cortex is used in mammals. Okay, so this is somewhat different, but we are concerned with the higher forms of the animals. So in the higher forms of the animals, the visual cortex located in the occipital lobe is going to perceive the sight, okay, the image that will be analyzed in the visual cortex. Is it okay up to this? Any confusion? Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Is it whatever I'm teaching, okay, on my slides, you just point wise, one by one. Don't miss any of these points, okay? I have picked up only the salient points. You remember these points, okay? So this is how the light reaches and how the cells are synthesized and the image is formed. That I don't want to go much details, okay? I just directly come to the what defects of the eye. So you are familiar with the different defects of the eye, right? Hypermetropia or myopia or hyperopia or myopia. Are you familiar with the eye fails to form the image directly at the retina, but the image is formed in front of the retina, then it is myopia. This you are familiar, okay? But in metropia means the normal vision. If the animal is having no problem in the eye, okay, in the eyesight, that vision is in metropia. Okay, so in hyperopia, what kind of the corrective lens is used? That is concave type of lens is used, so that the focal length of this is shortened, so that the image, instead of forming behind the retina, it will be formed at the retina. It is brought to retina. Okay, then what is it correct? No, myopia uses, sorry, what I'm telling is wrong. If it is behind the retina, then it has to be brought here. And if it has to be brought here, then it has to be convex. If it is concave, then it will be lengthened. Okay, so if it is concave, it will lengthen, and if it is convex, it will shorten. Myopia with a concave lens and the correction of hyperopia with a convex lens. Someone tell which lens is used here for myopia? Hyperopia is convex. Convex means it will shorten. Yes, convex means it will shorten, and if it is concave, it will lengthen. So concave will be used in myopia and convex will be used in hyperopia. Yes, it is like that. Okay, so you have to apply a little bit knowledge of physics also. Anyway, you just remember myopia uses concave lens and hyperopia uses convex lens. The first one I was telling, that is right. Okay, then another is the accommodation. So what do you understand by accommodation? Accommodation means how the eye adjusts, how the eye adjusts, how the eye adjusts the image. Means, say, like when you view an object, okay, from a far, or when you view an object from the from near, you have to accommodate your eye, okay, so that the focus, the image is formed in the retina. Okay, so that is called accommodation. So something like a bird is flying constantly and it is having a prey on the ground. Okay, and he is targeting to pick up that prey, okay, from the ground. So now this bird has to use his accommodation power to focus only onto that prey. Something like that, the prey animals focuses their eye, the vision in their eye to their a predator animal focuses their vision in their eye to their prey. The prey is also running and he's following. Okay, so that is the process of accommodation. Okay, and it is achieved by the ciliary muscle, and it is controlled mainly by parasympathetic nerves. So here what you have to remember is, for accommodation of the eye, the ciliary muscle is required. And when the ciliary muscle fails, when the ciliary muscles fails to contract or relax, then the accommodation will fail. So in that, the vision will be blurred. So that is controlled by parasympathetic nerves, and that is transmitted to the eye through the third cranial nerve. Okay, oculomotor nerve. Okay, then the predatory animals have higher accommodation powers. Horses and ruminants have lower accommodation powers. Birds are also good accommodators, because, say, one question may be asked, that why do birds have good accommodation of the eye? Because they have to keep flying, they have to have a focus that while flying where they will stop. So they have to accommodate their eye according to the destination point. Okay, so for that they need to have good accommodation power. Okay, then another point is the ophthalmoscope. What is ophthalmoscope? The ophthalmoscope is an instrument which will be used for examining the eye. It will help in the detecting the what are the conditions inside the eye in examining that. Okay, so that is called an ophthalmoscope. So you may be asked, what is ophthalmoscope, where it is used? You will never be asked how it functions. Okay, so ophthalmoscope consists of the different lens and all this. This is the bigger. If you are interested, you just have a look and go through it. If not, then leave it. Okay, but what is ophthalmoscope? So this is an instrument used for examining the eye. Okay. Only this much. So what we have discussed today in this class is different muscles involved in movement of the eye. Then what are the photoreceptor cells? What is accommodation? And what is emmetropia? Then different defects of the eye. Then what else? Visual pathway. What is optic chiasm? Okay, so that is important. And what is glaucoma? Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
What will be the syllabus about second internal exam?
Yeah, I will sort out. Okay, I will check your previous exam questions, because some portions were covered there, some portions were left. Okay, in respiratory system. So I will tell you, I will give you the list where you have to study for the next exam.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
I will give you the list, the chapters, okay? The list of the chapters I will give you in WhatsApp, okay? Then accordingly you can study.
Okay, ma'am.
The leftover portion of the respiratory system I will give you in the part wise, okay? Say like what portions need to be covered here, but the whole part of the nervous system will be covered. This is sure, okay? But in addition to the part of the nervous system, I will cover some parts of the respiratory system which were left before. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And whatever is covered up to today's class, okay, that part will be covered. Ear and eye also. Okay. Next class I will not cover, but up to today's class, you will study nervous system, hearing, and eye. Okay. Then there are some portions of the respiratory system. Those portions I will give you in the list. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.